So I wanted to share the Vanderbeekers of 141st Street, and it's by Karina Yan Glaser, and she is an Asian American author, and she lives in Harlem, and this book is also set in Harlem. And what I really love about this book, which is a series, because the second book came out couple of months ago, is that it's one of those like instant classics. It's like a very gentle story. It's a very warm and loving family, reminiscent of All of the Kind family, or the Melody family, or what other family? Penderwicks. This has a real kind of Penderwick feel. And I almost described this particular book as the Penderwicks meet the movie. Oh shoot, what is that movie? I'll put it in my down links. I'm just blanking on it. It's a Wonderful Life. Sorry, It's a Wonderful Life. And so this book has 5 children and parents, and they're mixed race, but she doesn't say exactly what their race are. You kind of get hints by their hair color, but not really. And it starts on December 20th, and it runs. The whole story ends by Christmas Day. So it's kind of, sort of well structured. And the plot turns on this family has lived in this brownstone. They live in the 2 bottom floors of this brownstone in Harlem on 141st Street. And it's a really wonderful neighborhood where they know everybody and everyone's very warm and kind to each other. And they all kind of look out for each other. But now there's a crisis, because their landlord, who lives on the 3rd floor, doesn't want to renew their lease, and they don't understand why. There's also an older couple that lives upstairs from them, who they're kind of the surrogate grandchildren for this older couple, and the husband is recovering from a stroke. That particular family, that older couple. And so no one wants them to leave except this mysterious landlord that hasn't really left the apartment. No one really knows too much about him or his story or why he's such a recluse. The kids just see like frozen meals being delivered. And so the 5 children plot and scheme to win the landlord over so that they get a stay, even though they're not quite sure what will work. So they try a lot of things. Most of them are catastrophes, but they all do it with, sort of good intentions. And then at the end, that's the plot twist. They either can stay or they're going to move like 4.5 hours away, kind of to where one of the Vanderbeekers parents found, where they're from. So it's definitely kind of a crisis situation. There's a tiny little bit of, so there's of the 5 kids, the 2 oldest are twin girls, and then there's a boy, and then there's another girl, and then the youngest is 4 3/4. She's like an adorable little girl. And they have animals as well. And so there's a lot of great lines in this book. The second to the youngest girl is like, she's really crafty and she makes lots and lots of projects. And Glaser describes her as sort of a workaholic elf. I thought that line was great. And then there's another line at the very end of the book talking about like when the landlord, we find out his true situation, and the lease situation gets resolved, and we see the landlord, who's been a recluse, in sort of a party situation, and kind of in a protected cove, taking it all in. And Glaser describes him as looking like he's breathing in happiness, and I just thought it was a really beautiful line. But anyway, I think like if anyone wants this book as a read aloud, it would be fabulous for the holiday week starting December 20th through Christmas. But it is a really great book to read any time of year, and I highly recommend it. And I actually reserved the second book at my library, and I'm looking forward to reading it. But I especially like these old-fashioned kind of family stories, like the 5 Little Peppers and how they grew, and like even Half Magic to some extent. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this book as well. Thank you.